Now, at first glance, it looks like a scene from some low-budget horror movie, or even more grotesque, a war crimes testimony from the Nazi era. 10 of Britain's National Health Service governing units have admitted to lumping together the remains of unborn and miscarried children with other hospital waste in incinerators over the last 2 years to generate power for heat.
When dispatches investigated what's happened around the country, we discovered some hospitals are cremating the remains of babies on a near industrial scale. One of them is Ipswich Hospital. At this crematorium, it's cremated at least 100 remains together on 5 occasions in 2 years. But it also incinerates fetal remains in this waste-to-energy plant on the hospital site. Those remains don't come from Ipswich, they come from another hospital.
Essentially, you're powering hospitals by burning babies. And this is in Ipswich.
Yeah, well, that's clearly completely unacceptable to me. I will take that up with the Chief Executive.
I want to emphasise, by the way, that's Channel 4 TV, fairly left-wing rather than conservative. And Amanda Holden, who made that documentary, I mean, she's not known for her politics at all, so this is not some pro-life group. And if this was one hospital, or even a handful of hospitals, we could maybe conclude that it was a mistake, a terrible error. But these are 10 area authorities, which means dozens and dozens of individual hospitals. We now know that more than 15,000 aborted and miscarried babies in Britain were incinerated as, quote, clinical waste for heating purposes. They were listed under what was euphemistically known as the waste-to-energy policy. Anthony McCarthy, Society for the Protection of Unborn Children, joins us now from London, England, by Skype. Anthony, what's the reaction? It aired last night, did it, this documentary?
It did, yes.
And what's the reaction been?
Well, I think the lady that presented it is quite a popular, celebrity figure, and I think people are angry and upset. It's got quite a lot of coverage. What's quite interesting is you were talking about abortion. The programme doesn't actually mention abortion, but the newspapers that have reported it have said that this is about what's happening to miscarried and aborted fetuses. And in fact, the guidance from the Human Tissue Authority, places like that, have talked quite openly about aborted fetuses. Yet the programme itself focused entirely on miscarriage. So I think it's interesting that people watching that programme drew conclusions, assumed that this was also about abortion, which it is.
Yeah, that is fascinating because, and just to set this up for people who don't know Britain or British subculture, Amanda Holden is a very popular celebrity, as you say. She's on all these shows where they judge talent. Has Britain got talent? Probably not, and so on. So, I don't know what her politics are. I think her politics are champagne and parties for all. I mean, really, that's what we think of her. So it's really rather jarring when she presents this. But I had no idea. They didn't, although it's obvious we're speaking mainly of abortion and miscarriage, they didn't mention the abortion word on the documentary. But all of these newspapers and politicians and the public have said, of course, it's about abortion.
Yeah, I think that's, well, it was included in the reports, yeah, aborted. In fact, the BBC, to its credit, included the 2011 abortion figures on BBC Online when reporting this. So, that was completely uncalled for. This was a story about dispatches, and the BBC drew the conclusion and gave the figure, which is just under 200,000 a year of abortion at the end of the story. So the programme was focused on women who've had miscarriages and the very understandable reactions they have when the babies that they were hoping to give birth to died. Now, of course, abortion is an interesting one because people do have abortions, and there are people who have abortions who don't like the idea that their babies are incinerated either. But of course, it's a much more conflicted issue there because, on the one hand, you've got this sort of doublethink going on, and possibly, in some cases, a certain sentimentality which says, I want to keep my sentiments about a live human being, but I want to deny that live human being a right to life. And you've kind of objectified another human being, and then you're objecting to an objectifying of the corpse. Yeah. Well, this is confused, let's say.
It's interesting, you use the word objective. If we try and remove the subjective for this, because people always say you're being emotional about this issue, just make it objective. Whatever the mother's view, the child is the child. Now, there are miscarriages that take place far earlier than abortion. So if you want to use the chronological argument, some of the aborted children are far greater in later development. They're all put in the same ovens and they come out the same chimney. I'm sorry if the language is strong, but I feel that way about this. So it's really how we treat people who have died. These are children, unborn children who have died. What the hospitals are saying is we don't give them any quality of life and we don't give them any quality of death. We use them as fuel.
Yeah, I think that's correct. In fact, you can see that attitude, spreading out to people beyond birth, as it were. You've got child euthanasia now in Belgium and places like that.
Yeah.
But I suppose what I think is hopeful is that women who miscarry, and indeed women who have abortions, they do actually think that they're dealing with a human being, a person. Some of them will admit it. And indeed, even in the academic literature, people are less and less able to say that the unborn isn't a person. They're trying to rely on rather bizarre arguments about, whether it's like detaching yourself from a Siamese twin or something like that. So there's a recognition, I think, that we're dealing with persons, and there's just a refusal to deal with what follows from that.
Right. Okay, last question I want to ask you, because we're running out of time here, but
Sorry.
Will this just be a temporary emotional spasm to a TV show, or is this going to in any way really change the conversation about this issue in Britain and indeed elsewhere in the world?
Well, I'm a little pessimistic because I think the reaction of government ministers is always, well, what we need is a code of practice and a change of thing. And, of course, there's an underlying culture that makes these things more likely. So I think, I think doctors will be, nurses will be a bit more careful. But I think that unless the culture is tackled, these assumptions will creep back in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder if this will even stop at all, actually. A bit of exposure for a while, yes, people panic and they rush around denying. But long term, will it be restored to what it was before? It may well be. Anthony, really appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.